What to do if your wife or anybody else in your life complains all the time. So if your wife is complaining all the time, there's a couple of ways to look at this. The first way to look at it is that she has a habit of complaining. It's not a rare thing in our world these days. People complain a lot. As a therapist once said to me, normal but not healthy. So it's a normal thing, but what do you do about it? Now, first, I guess you got to make sure that you're not complaining a lot also, because if you're complaining a lot, then what business do you have having an issue with your wife complaining all the time? So first, check yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, really, are you complaining all the time? And the second is just to be compassionate and understand that people fall to the level of their training. They don't rise to the context of the situation. They don't rise to the moment. They fall to their training. And the training in this case is the thing that we were doing again and again and again and again. And that's complaining. So be compassionate of that, knowing that if she's going to change, you're going to have to lead her there. You're going to have to lead her there. And this is different than pointing the finger at her and trying to make her feel bad about the way she communicates. The next thing you want to look at is that when somebody complains, it's because their expectations of the world are not getting met. Their expectations of the world are not getting met. Now that could be, those expectations might be really too high and unreasonable, or they might be reasonable. But whatever the case, if somebody's complaining all the time, it's because their expectations of the world are not being met. And what you can do about that is that you can start with yourself. You go first. And what I mean is you can start having conversations with your wife, in the evenings or whenever you guys have time to spend together and you're just sort of sharing what's going on in your life. You can share about how you are personally going through a process of learning to revise your expectations, about how you notice this kind of thing about your behavior and you thought it was unreasonable, so you're working on revising it. Because you probably already know this, is that when you're close with somebody in a relationship like a marriage, the other person is going to be very reluctant to take advice or teaching from the other partner, right? So, and there's kind of like jokes about this, is like, the husband can be right as can be, but the wife won't listen to it unless it comes from somebody who's not the husband. And that's a bigger conversation, but that's a common experience that married men have. So you can go first. You start leading these conversations now, but what also you need to look at, you got to look at the world, look at the situation through the lens of emotional needs. People who are happy and are getting their needs met don't tend to complain. There might be a habitual component there, sure. But the deeper underlying thing is that if a person is consistently not getting their needs met, then they might find it hard not to complain. Or to say another way, they might find it really easy to complain about just about anything because they have this need that's not been met. Now, the basic human needs comes from positive psychology, human needs psychology, started with Abraham Maslow, I think. And I'm sure you've seen that, his pyramid of human needs. But and there's a few different versions of them. The one that I work with is there's a need for certainty, meaning that your wife wants to know what to expect. She doesn't want, if you say you're going to be home at 8, you can be home at 8. And if you're home at 9:30 and you don't call, her need for certainty has not been met. She doesn't want, an eviction notice on the front door. Her need for certainty is not being met. She wants to be certain that she has a house to come and live in. The next is variety. Too much certainty and it's boring, right? Life is a dull, drab experience. So we also have a need for variety. And that means some excitement, some spontaneity. Take her out, surprise her. This is often, side note, this is the need that often leads to affairs. Because the husband's being the nice guy, he's doing the right thing. But then what happens is that it's too good. And your wife is craving for something new, something novel, and she ends up taking, she meets a friend, and affairs never start as affairs. They start as, oh, it's a harmless friendship, or, oh, he's just chatting, whatever. It starts like that. No, very few women go into a relationship knowing they're going to cheat. It just doesn't happen like that. It happens as a very innocent thing. And that's why being part of a man is being strong on your boundaries and saying that kind of relationship is not okay. It's not appropriate. You're married. There's no reason for you to have an intimate friendship with another man. And that's true. Stand by that 100%. And because it's just, we're humans, we're animals. We have biological drives. You put a man and a woman in a closed, intimate setting long enough, and it's just a matter of time until one of them catches feels. Facts of life. So, so variety. Give her some variety in life. And the next one is significance. Your wife needs to feel significant. She needs to feel that she is important in your life and in the life around you, your greater family, your greater circle. She needs to feel significant. She needs to feel love and connection. That's the next one, the fourth. She needs to feel love and connected. She needs to feel that you love her. And that doesn't mean that you tell her how you love her in a way that makes sense to you. It means you tell her how you love her in a way that makes sense to her. 5 Love Languages is a great book for that. I'm sure you've read it. If you haven't, you should read it. And so those are kind of the 4 basic human needs. If a person is not getting their needs met, they will get those needs met. If a person's not getting those 4 needs met in a healthy way, they'll get those needs met in an unhealthy way. And next, the next 2 are, happiness needs, I guess we can say. I forgot. But they are growth. Your wife, everybody else needs to feel like they're making progress, that they're growing as a person, that they're maturing and getting better. And the next is contribution. We all want to feel that we are contributing to some greater good. Now, that could be to our families. In my version of the world, for men specifically, we need mission that's bigger. We need contribution bigger than our families. We need to go out to the world and do more to help the world and to make it more the way that is what we believe to be good and true. So that's a quick recap on the 6 human needs. It's a deep dive. There's stuff that you want to learn there for sure, but that is a good lens to look at complaining through, because if your wife is complaining, then it's highly likely that some of her needs are not getting met. So see how that works. If you got any questions or comments, leave a comment in the description or in the comments down below.